everybody. Welcome back to Sacred Health. I'm Carolyn, and it's episode 3. Today, we're going to be talking about the importance of health foundations. I had to start this and then restart because I was feeling really nervous and anxious and frazzled. But I took a breath and I'm feeling a little better. But collectively, I'd like to start with another cleansing breath for everyone listening to just, get your bearings and take a minute and chill because I need it today. I need another one. Okay, so as long as you're not driving, I'd like you to take a second, get comfortable wherever you're at, lay down or sit or whatever. Close your eyes. Okay, yeah, close your eyes. And shake it off, physically wiggle your arms around, just try to get to a place of stillness. I like to put my hands over my heart. Do what works for you. Okay, close your eyes. If you haven't yet, take a big inhale through the nose. Hold at the top and slowly exhale through the mouth. Do it again, and when you take that inhale, try to make sure you are filling up your diaphragm. I know it's easy to fill up your chest and kind of breathe up high, but try to take a belly breath. Okay, in through your nose. Hold at the top and exhale through the mouth. And open your eyes. Okay, that feels better. I'm going to do that every time I think because that just really gets me centered and relaxed. And even if I feel a little nervous, I just feel more calm and grounded. I can acknowledge that I'm a little nervous, but it's not freaking me out as bad. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, our episode today is going to be about the importance of health foundations. So basically, the reason why I am even thinking about talking about this is because I'm realizing I don't have them, and I can recognize where I'm lacking and how my whole routine and life, my health life, has suffered because I have not been sticking to any foundations that I did have previously that could have kept me on track. So basically, if you think about being on the wagon of having your shit together, being on a routine, in this case, we're talking about health and wellness. I'm not on the wagon. I'm so far off the wagon. It's I'm crawling behind it and it's going in front of me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's just I'm so out of whack. I'm out of routine, and the kids just started school, so that's a whole separate thing. But the point is, if you have health foundations, then even when life gets crazy and when if you have kids or family in school and you have to plan your days around that, I should say in a non-homeschool situation where or even if it is homeschool, and you do the school year throughout the typical public school year, where you have summer off, so your schedule's changing. If you don't have foundation set in place, your life's gonna be a fucking shit show. You know what I'm saying? The foundations will help you when the rest of your life goes wonky, when your schedule's changing, or if there's illness or other stressors happening, or natural disasters, or just things that you don't expect to happen. Having some sort of foundation in place is going to help you feel like you can at least keep some things consistent when other things are not. And like I said, I haven't lost them, but I've not prioritized my foundations the past couple months. consistently. Like I've done them here and there, kind of sporadic, but not consistent, not it. I didn't prioritize it enough to keep it going, which leads me to like losing my whole routine, and I'm like not feeling my best because of that. So I hope you guys can relate to that in the feeling of like, okay, I was like on the wagon. I had my shit together and I felt good because of that. It doesn't even have to be related to like exercise necessarily. It could be other things, but you had your shit together for one range of time, and then you fell off of that, and you can feel the difference. It doesn't feel good. It like it's just not pleasant. Um, and I'm sure you guys have felt that at one point or another in your life. So you can resonate with me in this. And I think a lot of people like think of getting off the wagon as it's typically associated with exercise or some sort of eating lifestyle, diet, quote unquote. It's usually related to food or exercise, but there are so many other aspects of your life that relate to health that it doesn't always have to be like that specific. So I'm doing health coaching school right now, and so my program, like the school, their big point, like one of their main points, that it's like the basis of the whole curriculum is the idea of primary and secondary food. And so basically primary food is your food, I'm quoting that, food off the plate. So it's basically everything but your actual food that you eat. And the reason why they call that primary food is because all these things combined affect your health. Like it's not just what you literally eat that affects your health. There's so many other variables that affect your life, that affect your wellness, your mental health, your emotional health, you know what I mean? So they call this primary food. And I mean, I think that has more influence than regular diet, like than regular, like literal food you're eating. All the other factors in primary food, in my opinion, can influence you way more in how you are as a human and your health and overall wellness. Because it's not just like there's so many, it could be like things that affect you negatively or positively, but like how can I explain this? When things go poorly, it could be coming at you from all different sorts of directions. And that has more compounding effects on someone, I think, than like someone's diet negatively affecting them. I hope this makes sense. So anyway, they call this the circle of life. There's 12 um, points of the circle, 12 things that make up the circle. That's a better way to say it. And the way they put this out there for us to use not only in our personal life, but to show clients is they have a circle of life tool, which I will link this in the show notes. It's basically like, think of a pie chart, like a circle, and there's 12 sections, and you can kind of, the way the interactive one is like you put a little dot on each section and then connect them, and it kind of looks like, if you're watching the video, you connect the dots and you can kind of see what areas are doing well and what are not. You know what I mean? And just compare them and then continually assess, every so often where you're at with this circle of life. And it's just good to reflect and to really be aware of where you even are at in the first place. Some of you might not even give yourself the opportunity to even look at this at all. So you might not even know where you're at and how you feel about these things because you haven't even thought about it. So the 12 areas of the circle of life: creativity, finances, career, education, health, physical activity, home cooking, home environment, relationships, social life, joy, and spirituality. So yeah, those are the 12 things. And when I first heard this, honestly, I was kind of like taken aback in a way because I had never really put that into perspective of considering all these things as affecting my health. But it's true. If you have a creative outlet, you're typically more fulfilled. Um, you feel like you're getting emotion out. So whether that's songwriting, playing music, art, writing stories, you know what I mean? Like you're getting that stuff out of you into like, you're taking what you're going through and putting it out into something else. So it's not like you're not holding it in. Um, Finances, obviously, I think everyone can relate to how that can negatively affect people and positively too. Because when you're struggling financially, you're stressed out, you're probably angry, depressed, feeling that kind of scarcity, like fight or flight type of feeling. And when you're doing really well financially, you feel expansive and happy and like relief, peace, um, like fulfillment in the way that you can buy the things you want and not necessarily just only buy what you need. Like you can have like disposable income and spend it on other things that make you happy and that you like that you like and you don't have to stress out about it. Career, I think this is another one that's really relatable to people is if they have a career they hate, if you have a career you hate, you feel like shit, you're depressed. And if you have one that you love, it's the reverse. It's so fulfilling and your soul is happier. Education, constantly learning. And then I mean, I know what it's like to learn things you don't give a shit about, and it's like draining and your brain feels like it's melting and it's so boring and it's just like, why am I even learning this type of thing? Um, your health, obviously, if you feel good when you're healthy and you feel like shit when you're not. Physical activity that relates to that, to the health thing, usually people who exercise, they may not enjoy it at first, but once their body adjusts and they feel good when they exercise, that's so important. And I know for me personally, when I am consistently exercising and moving in ways that feel good to me and trying new things, I feel way more vibrant. I feel more confident in myself. I feel more capable. Um, and those are all things, I mean, I love, and I hope everyone can feel that. Home cooking, this is so important because I think a lot of people, especially if you work in traditional settings, or maybe you're in school and you're away from the home or just whatever it may be, or you don't have a steady place to cook, that's hectic. You can't, especially if you have dietary restrictions or preferences, or you just want to eat more clean and like less processed, you're gonna realize that basically everywhere or a lot of places out to eat, even including like gas stations and things, they don't really offer you much that's worth it. Um, and it's food that typically, generally, is not filling, or it's like empty calories, like not nutritionally dense. So you eat it and then you're hungry right afterwards. Um, or it's stuff that's super calorically dense and it's just like shitty, like Big Macs and things. That's like, yeah, you might like the taste of it. It might taste good. You might be full, but is it providing you what you need? You know what I mean? And just realizing that when you cook from home, that can completely change the way you look at health because you're eating things. You can appreciate food more because you're making it. Your family would appreciate it more because you're making it, and potentially they could be helping making it. But also you can tailor it to your needs and your tastes. Relationships. This is friendships, family relationships, and partnerships, romantic relationships, or however you define that for you. Um, interaction with people, that I mean, I know personally what it feels like to feel lonely and like you don't really have close friends anymore. You have acquaintances, you have people who it's not like you're not friends with them, it's not like you dislike them by any means, but you're not close anymore. You know what I mean? And that totally has a freaking effect on your health. Are you kidding me? COVID? Like, do you not, So like just the isolated feeling, or even just when your relationships that are literally close to you, your partner or your spouse, your kids or your siblings, parents, if you can feel how it affects you when they're doing well and when they're not. And social life, this kind of relates to relationships too. If that's going well or if it's not, it does affect your health. Joy, obviously, if you feel a lot of joy, of course you're gonna feel better. Your health will improve if you feel joyful and you can find joy and feel gratitude and all these things in your life. If you can recognize that there are still good things in the world, even if your life is kind of going in a way that is not ideal for you. People who are depressed are typically not healthy, or like they're more likely to get sick because they're depressed, and vice versa. You're more likely to get depressed when you're sick, type of thing. Everything relates to each other, and I guess that's the whole point of this circle of life thing. The reason why they made it and explained it in this way is because everything relates to each other. It's multidimensional. And you can't just fix one thing and then you can't just fix one thing and expect everything else to be fixed. You have to be intentional about what you are working on and see how it relates to everything else. The last thing is spirituality. Obviously, having a spiritual practice of some kind is totally like in like invigorating for people, or like it gives them life. They feel full of life when they practice something spiritual. So whether that is a church setting, a religious practice, or it could be completely not religious and just kind of like meditating, praying to spirit or some sort of higher power, whatever that is for you. There's literally so many different ways someone could approach that whole situation, but just finding something else to go toward, like people pray to God because they want that support from somebody else. So whether that is God, like in Christianity, or the universe, or just a higher power of some sort, or maybe it's multiple gods. Some people believe in that too. Like that doesn't matter necessarily. Like it's not the point. It's not the point of like doing it one way only, or like this is the right way. Like it's what is going to work for you individually. That's what's important. And just having the awareness and giving yourself the chance to even think about that. Some people go along with things just because that's what they're surrounded by, that's what they grew up with. They might not even believe that themselves, but they've never given themselves a chance to think about it and even determine if that's what they truly believe or not. So anyway, basically just give yourself the space to think on these things and decide what works for you and what feels right. So some examples of having foundations. So this is like the things that kind of keep you grounded when your life gets fucking nuts and crazy. People get sick, maybe you have to move, or maybe your schedule changes. Someone loses a job, or maybe starts a new job, and then your schedule changes that way. It could go so in so many different directions. But basically, yeah, there's just different ways you could create a healthy foundation. And as I give off these examples, just think about it. What does a healthy foundation mean to you? What would that look like? Do you have core things that like would make you feel grounded, and knowing that even if everything else goes crazy, like my routine is not the same, if I do these 2 things, these 5 things, whatever it is, then you'll feel centered enough that you can handle everything else going crazy. You know what I mean? Um, so some examples, a morning routine, a morning flow. Some people don't like the word routine. It feels too restrictive, but just a morning and or bedtime routine, or like flow state of like every mornings or every evening I do these same things. It doesn't matter what time it is, it doesn't matter what day it is, but like I will just consistently do these things, and it centers me. So for me, for my ideal like morning routine that right now I'm kind of doing, but not completely to the best of my ability, but this is the thing that like helps me feel really good is, okay, in the morning I get up before my kids, like before my husband, like I like having quiet in the morning. Take out my dog, start a load of laundry, bring my dog back inside, and then I go and do my meditation, I do my journaling, some sort of like personal development, whether that's my tapping or like that how to meet yourself workbook, or just journaling freehand, like no prompts, or maybe it is a certain prompt, like I don't know, but just some sort of like personal development, letting my thoughts out. Then some sort of exercise, and then typically I would have to get my kids ready for school, and then like come back and finish things if I didn't finish my exercise. But that's basically it. That would be like my ideal morning situation, because even if the time changes or if it's on the weekend, like knowing I'm still like getting my day started in that way, I just feel good. I feel like, okay, I've accomplished things. And same with bedtime. I don't really have like a consistent bedtime routine, but some people do. They do like a bath and then tea and like supplements or skincare or whatever, like it could be anything. Um, Exercise. Um, this is where I'm kind of recognizing where I've made an excuse, is having some sort of consistent movement. And even if you can't do the full like scheduled movement, or like let's say you had a leg day planned out and you had 5 exercises, even if you can't do the full 5, can you do 2? Can you do 3? And for me, I see where I've made an excuse, because if I couldn't do it all, I just wouldn't want to do it. Or if I couldn't do it in the morning, like the time that I would ideally like to, I just wouldn't do it after that. That's me just being lazy and not prioritizing it, even something, you know what I mean? That kind of all or nothing, while that can be helpful, it can also be not, because like for me, if I couldn't do it all, I just would not do anything. And that's where that can be problematic. Having some core supplements could also be helpful, especially talking about nutrition. When life gets chaotic, typically people eat out more. I know that happens to us, or just get, even like if they don't eat out, they get more like convenient things at the store. So they don't have to worry about cooking and like taking up as much time doing homemade things. And typically those convenient microwavable things, or like oven, frozen meals that you like can heat in the oven or whatever, those aren't always very nutritious. Actually, they're generally not. Some of them now, they have healthier ones, which is nice, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's not gonna like give you all your day's nutrients. So if you have supplements or staple meals that you can eat, and knowing like, hey, I'm still getting all these vitamins and minerals with my supplements or with these certain meals. So everything else, even if that's unpredictable, then I know I at least have something good for me and my body today. Um, this is where those greens drinks come in handy. I take Huel, Huel, Huel. I have a shirt if you're watching the video. Um, Huel. And so I have a code. It's just it's not like a paid code, but it's more of like a referral link where you get a percentage off. Um, it's kind of like AG1 if you've heard of that. I've heard that get recommended everywhere basically, but it's a lot more affordable in price than AG1, and it has a lot of the same ingredients. So I like it like that. I like that. I like it because of that, is what I meant to say. I would like to preface it though that drink it with something. Like mix it with a juice, or like if you take other supplements like drinks, like maybe like um like a collagen, like a flavored collagen, or like um I don't like Emergency, like the brand, but like a vitamin C like drink, or like electrolyte, like liquid IV, or Pureboost. I actually mix mine with Pureboost, and I really like that. Just mix it with something because it's very like, it's gonna taste like greens, like so at least it's like it tastes like what it says it is. So that makes sense. But I don't like the taste of that. So if you like the taste of greens that taste, it's like grass, then go ahead and drink it plain. But I really don't like the taste of greens, so I like to mix mine with other things. I also take Novos, which is basically to help with cellular repair and aging. So they have a packet called Novos Core, which is like ours is orange flavored, so I mix that in there too. And then they also have NMN, which I cannot pronounce what that actually stands for. It's like, I don't know. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. It's a long word, but and those are little like capsules. But anyway, I can link both of those in the description as well. And kind of playing off this, having those meals, consistent meals that are convenient for you when life gets crazy. So it's like you could do it overnight, or like have like meal prep them and have them in the fridge, or like it's like a quick thing to make like tacos or spaghetti or whatever, that you kind of know what you're getting, and it's easy. It's kind of like mindless because you've made it so many times, you know what I mean? And this also helps if you're tracking your macros. Most tracking apps, I haven't used them all, but I'm just assuming, but they have where you can like save a recipe and then copy it on multiple days. So if you're tracking your food, even if you can't track everything, at least hey, I'm at least getting like this much protein and fat and carbs or whatever you track. And you're getting something the same every day, even when other stuff is unpredictable. And then I guess we've kind of talked about this earlier, of just having some sort of spiritual health practice, praying every morning or meditating, things like that. That's really common, but it does help give people a sense of like groundedness in their day, so that even when things are hectic, chaotic, stressful, that they have something to fall back on that gives them a sense of peace. And this ties into mental health, like journaling, therapy, like that also is similar. You need that thing to ground you and help you feel like, give you the space to get through these emotions of being stressed or flustered, or when things are hectic or just unexpected. Having those practices can help you process it in a healthy way and relieve some of that stress. So I hope all this made sense. Just kind of, I guess when I wrote out my notes and kind of thought this out, it helped me see how much I don't feel like myself when I don't have a good foundation in place. Because I lose track of everything that I had worked so hard to stay on track with, my exercise, my mental health, my journaling, my tapping, my meditating, eating well. And I know that is like everyone has their own opinion of what it means to eat well and eat healthy, but just eating in a way that feels good to me, and tracking my food, and just these things that I had really been so consistent with, and then I just let it go. And it was kind of a gradual thing. Like be aware of that. It could start with one thing falling off the wayside and then another, and it takes time. Sometimes it's like all at once, but for me, it was gradual. And so now 2 months later, I'm realizing, okay, I've like fallen off the wagon with basically everything. And that does not feel good. That's not fun to admit. Um, but I just had like having that awareness and respect for myself to even just look inward and be like, okay, Carolyn, like you don't try to bullshit yourself. Like you have fallen off in so many aspects. Like you've gained weight, you've lost your motivation to exercise, um, eating foods that feel good. Like now you're just kind of eating whatever, you're not getting enough protein, you're not staying hydrated. That's another one. Just things like that. It's like I can't lie to myself. I can't like try to make it sound better than it is. It is what it is, but I'm open enough to like look at it and recognize it. And now that I've wrote these notes out, it's like, okay, well, what, I can do the circle of life tool and kind of assess where I'm at and look through like, okay, what can I take from my notes and what I've explained here on this episode and apply it to myself and create those foundations again. So yeah, that's how I'm gonna like apply it to myself. But questions I would like to ask to you, the listener, to kind of get yourself thinking and processing all this and see how you can apply it to yourself. What is holding you back from creating or sticking to health foundations? Do you even have any foundations at all? Have you had foundations? Do you even know what that would look like? I guess that's my other question is what does a healthy foundation look like to you? So if what is holding you back is that you've never had them in the first place, then take a minute and write this down. What does it look like to you? It might not even be exercise at all. It might just be supplements and like meditating or praying, like it's going to look different for everyone and it's going to fluctuate at different times in your life. But just have awareness, like give yourself the space and the chance to even think about it in the first place and really figure it out, like learn about yourself. That is so important. And something I intentionally did not do for many years was I didn't learn about myself. I didn't reflect or even think it was worth thinking about. And that's sad. That sucks, man. Like, why would you not want to know about yourself? Like as far as we know, we live once and then we die. And like, why would we not want to make the best out of this life that we have and learn about the mind that we have and the body that we have and make our life, like make our mind and our body the best place it can be for us to experience life. And part of that means learning about yourself and figuring stuff like this out. So, and I'm talking to myself, obviously, too. So, yeah, I would say take some time after this episode, ask yourself those questions and actually, write them down, write the answers down, and intentionally visit that list or those questions and see what you can formulate and start or potentially restart as a health foundation. I think it could really benefit you, and I hope it does. So just I hope you got some benefit out of this and learned something. And yeah, I guess that's it. I don't have anything else, but I hope you enjoyed this episode and learn something new, and I hope you can share it with someone that you think would resonate and learn something too. Remember to just share love and compassion to other people, even if they're making you mad, even if you don't understand. You don't have to understand why somebody does something or why they don't do something. But just it's so freeing to be able to look at a situation or look at a person, and you don't even have like this could even just be like mentally in your mind. You don't even have to talk to them again, but it is so freeing to be able to look at a situation, whether it's current or past, and express love and understanding to someone, or just recognizing that people do the best that they can with what they know. It might not be the right thing. It doesn't mean they didn't hurt you or that they weren't hurt, but they were just doing what they could and what they knew. And I guess just realizing that people are hurt and it comes out in all kinds of crazy ways. But that's where acknowledging that and sending love can be so healing, is because you realize they were just hurt and they just let it out and it came out in a way that, but they were just doing what they knew or doing what they thought was best. That's been coming up a lot for me lately. I know that has nothing to do with what we talked about, but I did just want to put that out there. Just try to show love and compassion for people, because it is so healing and the world needs that right now. And even if it's just energetic showing of love to someone, like I said, you don't have to talk to people that hurt you again. Like, you don't have to open up relationships you don't want to. But even just energetically sending love to someone, it can be healing and it can be so helpful. So I just wanted to end on that note. I hope that resonate with some of you and you can take that into practice and work on that yourself, because it helps you heal yourself. Like, it's not about healing the other person, it's about healing you. And that's just something that I'm working on in my own life, and it's been impactful. So I hope that works for you. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Remember, strive to live a vibrant life.